Hi guys, Mr. Wagner here and George, and today we're going to be talking about texture. Remember, texture is one of our elements of art. Line, shape, color, value, form, texture, and space. Well, texture today, guys, is all about how things feel or how they look like they feel. Now, I can certainly feel my puppy George, and his texture is, well, smooth. But if I go this way, it's a little rough. But if I go this way, it's a little smooth. Well, texture, thanks George. Texture is how things look like they feel. That's called implied texture, or how they actually feel. And that's called actual texture. Here's some actual texture on this 3D form. Three-dimensional form, it's a pear. And if you feel, I can feel the actual texture of this wire pear. Well, it's wiry. It has some lines in it, it has some bumps, but the texture is kind of bumpy. Here is who knows what this is? Pine cone. Yeah, pine cone. And this pine cone has actual texture that I can really feel, and it is bumpy. Now, I have some art over here that shows implied texture. I think about implied texture like it's in my eye. I can't really feel it, but I can see it, and it's implied in my eye. Well, this guy's mariposa, this butterfly, it's not a rubbing, which we're going to talk about today. It's not a rubbing, but it's a block print. The artist had a piece of wood, and the artist carved this with a knife and then put ink on top and then laid paper on top. Well, the implied texture, if you zoom in close, you'll be able to see that, well, it looks kind of rough. But if I were really to feel it, it's smooth because it's two-dimensional. It's just flat, but it looks like it has good texture. So here's another example of this implied texture. Now, the reason why I'm talking about texture today, guys, is because we're gonna do some art. It's actually a really old form of art. They're called rubbings or etchings. You can call them rubbings or you can call them etchings. And all you need for etchings or rubbings, we're going to call them rubbings, is we're going to use some regular paper. You don't have to have white paper. You can have notebook paper. So you can have either kind of paper, and what you do is you just get some colored pencils or a regular pencil or some crayons with no paper. Remember that technique, guys, that we call the rubbing technique? Yes, you know that rubbing technique. We use crayons with no paper, and that's when we can cover a lot of area. If I'm doing the sky or the grass, I can use a paperless crayon to do rubbings. Well, the cool thing is you already know that. But rubbings for us today to show texture is we're gonna put something under the paper, like a coin, here's a quarter, or like this stick, or even a milk top. I have some cardboard here that I just pulled the paper off the cardboard, and I have some ridges. I asked my wife, and be sure to get permission from your mom, but I went into the kitchen and I got this wire basket, and my kids love to bake, so we had this baking sheet where you let cookies cool on this. Well, all of these have texture, actual texture that I can feel. But for today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a rubbing. So choose what you're gonna use, either colored pencils, make sure they're sharp, and or crayons. You can even use chalk. If you have any sidewalk chalk or regular chalk, chalk works well too. But let me show you something. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a quarter down on the table, and I'm gonna put my paper right on top. Now, I'm gonna choose warm colors today, guys. You know, warm colors for blending are yellows, oranges, and reds. I could choose cool colors. I could choose greens and blues and purples. I may do that later, but today I'm just gonna start out with warm colors, and I'm gonna take a red colored pencil. Now, when I'm doing small areas like coins or tops, I kind of have to hold it in place. If I just put that coin under there and I just try to do it like this, the coin's gonna slide all around. So I'm gonna hold that coin right under here, just like this. And look what I'm doing. I'm holding that paper flat, and bingo. You know how this works. You can take that red colored pencil and you can just rub against that coin. And then you can move that coin to another area, and you could even create what I think are gonna be maybe some eyes. Maybe we create something that looks like a little froggy or something like that. I could take this bottle cap, this is from my recycling bin, from my milk, and I could simply find where I put it. I can feel where I put it, and then I could take a different color like this orange crayon, and I could do a rubbing just like that. And so quickly, I've just created a little friend here. Here's my little friend with two eyes and a smiley mouth. But if I want to get more complicated, I can take this basket and I can say, well, I want my little friend to have some skin texture. So look what I'm doing. I'm just rubbing all around. And I'm gonna blend some colors. So I'm gonna have those warm colors. I'm gonna have yellow on top of that red. And I'm gonna have a little orange right in here too. And now I'm gonna move to my bigger cookie sheet like this. And I'm gonna take, let's see. I'm gonna say brown today is a warm color. So I'm just gonna go just across like this, and it's making some music too, but I'm gonna go maybe with a little of this yellow again. And I'm gonna even try that chalk. Ooh, that chalk is blending nicely too. But be sure when you're using chalk, guys, that this extra chalk dust doesn't get all over your mom's table. Maybe you do this outside. Now, I'm gonna go back to something like this stick, and I'm gonna take this red right here, and I'm gonna do some texture rubbing, just like this. Now, I got some coins from another country, and if you have anything from Mexico, some pesos maybe, you can put it under here, and you can just rub that coin just like that. And look how nicely that rubs under here. So guys, what you want to do is search around your house. Find some objects like coins or the top of a can. You can even go outside. So let's just follow me out to my back porch and I'll show you some things outside. Hey guys, now you're out on Mr. Wagner's deck, and thanks for sticking with me on this texture video. But I've got some cool colors now. I've got some blues, some greens, and some purples. That's paperless crayons and chalk. So let's take a look at this table I have here. I've taken my white paper, I put it right on top. I'm gonna choose a little bit of green right here and we'll see what we can get. Ooh, nice, I love that texture. Look at that. Now I'm gonna blend a little bit of blue. Ooh, look, that's blue-green. I love that blue-green. Remember, that's a intermediate color where we blend a secondary color with a primary color, gives us blue-green, and that's that intermediate color. And I'm gonna take a little bit of regular green and go along here. Now, I'm gonna find something for my barbecue pit and hopefully this will work well. We'll see how this goes. Oh yeah, that adds some cool texture like that. I'm gonna try this chalk, see if it gets going. Yeah, a little bit there. Now follow me over to the brick wall of my house. I wanna be sure not to get crayons on your dad's wall. If you have wood on the outside, that works, or you can use the brick. So let's try this. Yep, that's showing up pretty good. That's interesting texture. So implied texture, when I feel it, it's really smooth. Actual texture, it's bumpy. All right, guys. So let's go back inside and I'll show you what you can do with some of this interesting rubbings from your texture. Thanks. Hey Wranglers, part 3, and this is the last part. We'll get to our final product soon. But what you were just looking at are some stencils, and you know about stencils. You can make some for two things: for more texture, and then we can apply these stencils on top of our rubbings and cut them out, and they're going to be really cool 2D shapes. But remember how to make a stencil. You just get a piece of paper like this, you fold it in half, just like if you were doing a snowman. You could do bilateral symmetry. Symmetry would mean something like this, where if I want to do a snowman, I would do something like this. And notice I only drew on one side. Here's the fold, nothing's on the back. So I would simply take my scissors and I would cut along this line. Bingo. Here's my little snowman stencil. That's the negative space. Well, here's the positive space. You could use this little guy too. So watch what I'm gonna do. I've got my stencils here on my table. I'm gonna take my paper and I'm just gonna lay it right here on top. Remember, I kind of have to hold it down flat and still. Now I've chosen some cool colors this time. I'm gonna start with this red violet and I'm gonna do a rubbing just like that. So underneath, there's my stencil. Check out this tree I'm gonna do in purple. And then blue, I'm gonna do this star. And over here, ooh, and here's the letter T. You could even do your initials. All right, so there's more texture. Now what I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm gonna take what I've done for my rubbings and I'm gonna say, okay, I really like, let's see, I really like this heart. And I'm gonna put this heart right here on top of this. So I'm gonna find where I want, right about here. That gets a lot of good color. I'm gonna carefully trace. And I might even use a Sharpie if you have a Sharpie, or just a regular marker. Now I'm gonna take my, and you could just keep it like this, guys, or you could cut out this part. And then you would take your final product paper, whatever you're gonna create this on, and here it is, and I might do some, ooh, my table, look at that. My table is even making some texture. I can see the wood grain in my table here, and then I'm just gonna take some glue and I'm gonna glue that right on top of that, and I'm gonna make an entire beautiful picture. So guys, today what we've learned is that texture can be implied in your eye, like we can see here. It looks kind of rough, but it's smooth. Or actual texture, like my form, my 3D pear here. It's bumpy, I can feel the texture. We use different kinds of things, objects from your home, and we used crayons with no paper or colored pencils to do rubbings. And your final product, guys, can be where you put all of these all around. So, okay, thanks guys for joining me on my first video for distance learning. I hope you guys are able to enjoy this process and just keep making art when you can. Have your mom take a photo and send a picture to Class Dojo or my Google Classroom. Thank you. Bye.